Kirklin was grooving to it. I saw those head bops.
The music threw me off, for sure.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 388th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the ad man, Travis Snell.
I am the Hat Man, Kirklin Patzer.
I am the Spirit of Vengeance, Taylor Field.
Couldn't have gone with the man gimmick we had going on. You had to bust it up.
Mm-hmm.
He had a predetermined name. He wasn't changing it for us.
He did. He's like, no matter what these fuckers are saying their names are, I'm going. But if people aren't watching the YouTube video, usually we have like a nice chill background. And I'm fine with it today because we have a big topic for Taylor. But the fact that we're in hell right now with all the flames, I don't know if that's fitting or what it is. So we got Clay in the chat. We got Dylan Musk in the chat. How's it going? Ladies and gentlemen, yes, welcome to a GeekVerse News episode. We were going back and forth with when was going to happen, but then some fun little news drops, some trailers, some news, some Switch sales, a bunch of fun stuff. So it's just the GV3 as of right now. So what are we got going on? We got so much stuff popping off. Unfortunately, I was literally about to throw to, oh man, I can't wait to review Spiral, the Book of Saw, but we're not reviewing that. So it looks like officially we're not getting anything in Canada till a month from now. So we will do a review then. I don't know. I know some people have been like, I'll use Heinz expression of like, what if you guys, fall off? What if it falls off the back of a truck and you find it? It's like, we may see it before the month happens, but I don't think we can officially review it or we'll kind of get fucked. Maybe we'll do some cryptic reviews and something like that. But so go back and check. If you're just in the Saw mood, there's still 3 days till, or I guess 2 days till it comes out. Go check out the Saw retrospectives on this feed. But the 4 feeds that we have now, the main feed, the news feed, the review feed, and the retrospective feed, every single Saw retrospective is up there. The rankings episode, Jigsaw. And that was actually tons of fun. Lots of people message us. So like Maddie, one of our patrons, he's seen this week. So you know what? I'm happy for all of you guys that are seeing it. You know what? It happened to us last year. We got to see Tenet and New Mutants, and here we are in Spiral, and we're sitting out. But there's lots of other good stuff going on GeekVerse. We'll be reviewing other things coming up. Army of the Dead is next week. So Taylor, before I keep going, where can they find us on the interwebs and find us doing all this good stuff?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on Facebook because we have lots of cool, exciting things that'll be popping up there, including, as I mentioned before, a possible summer poll that's going to drop. I just need to make some time to properly stick to it because my schedule's getting a little bit busy. But another thing I really want to shout out is on our social media channels, we have links to the best of 2021 vote. Basically, it's like vote for your basically, yeah, it's voting for the best local not only
best podcast in the world.
Best podcast. We're in the running for best local podcast. I mean, there's so many different categories and stuff, but we are nominated for best local podcast, which is what we need your vote. And I can't stress this enough that every single vote counts because we tied for silver, second place last year, and we are going for the gold this year. And we're calling all the favors that we can. It means the world to us if you guys take 2 seconds out of your time to just click the link and just drop a vote for us. So I will follow up with something else after you go, Travis.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I got some other things to throw to you guys. Yeah, I still think the rules were fraudulent last year as far as like we tied for second, but then they still gave a third place away. Like that's not usually how it works. Usually it's 1, 2, and 3, and if there's a tie, that's you would eliminate.
They never had a tie before. I think we were the first.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a controversy when they wouldn't give us a silver plaque. So yes, go vote. It literally only takes 30 seconds. I would either go to Facebook or Twitter. That gives you the exact instructions of what to do. So yeah, like I was saying, Army of the Dead is next week, so we'll be reviewing that. You can check out our Dawn of Dead retrospective. And then as far as the retrospectives goes, like we said, there's 4 podcasts a week on GeekVerse, and we usually have the classic day. So what we're going to be doing for the classic day is we're going to be jumping back in the time machine. Just like with Saw was coming up, we threw out the Saw retrospectives. We are going to throw out the Marvel retrospective. So every single Marvel review we've done that is not on the feed right now, that's like 3-4 years old, like when me, Dylan, and Taylor did the retrospective for all of them, those are going to be up there all the way to Black Widow. And I think all the way to Shang-Chi, because I think we have like 12, I think we have like 12 or 14 of them that we did in, God, I think it was 2018. So it's been already 3 years. That's nuts. So Because as always, people always says, "Oh, have you reviewed this? Have you?" So that's why we're going to throw them up there. So that's going to take place. The Saw retrospective, May 22nd. If you're a patron or if you want to join Patreon Phase 2 tier, we are doing our first ever GeekVerse Gauntlet Club Games Night. So we're going to be doing Mafia,
Return of Mothra.
Mafia, Avalon, or Werewolf. Just kind of depends on the numbers, because Avalon you can do smaller, but so far everyone's really excited. Last after night we were talking about that. So that's gonna be lots of fun. So if you want to join, go join the Phase 2 tier. And it's our first time ever. We're doing 4 events a year minimum. We may do more, but just especially with summer coming up, people are getting married, people are having babies, lots of stuff going on. But we're for sure gonna do this. We're very excited. And you can go over to Patreon, if you want to. I'm not begging you to, but if you want to, you can join Patreon, because yes, you pay us some money, but you also get a whole bunch of goodies, which I'm gonna get into. So just subscribe, rate, review. I have some more stuff to say about as far as reviewing on Apple Podcasts, but Taylor, you wanted to say something else, and then Kirklin, I also got to throw to you for what's going on this weekend. But Taylor Field, what's going on over you?
Yeah, I was going to announce something, and I was talking to Travis something, and maybe I should announce it, but maybe I'm just gonna drop this little tidbit. So this is something. And I'm on the side here. Oh, this is perfect. You can still see me. You can see Travis too.
Okay.
Kirkland's out.
See you later, guys.
Describe it for the audio people.
Yes, this is a microphone with what kind of hat would you say that is, Kirkland?
Why are you asking me? Oh, because I'm the hat guy. I would say that's like a Sherlock Holmes type hat. I don't know what they're called, but if it had the the pattern that Sherlock would have, I would say that's a Sherlock Holmes hat, because I feel like he had 2 brims, one on the front, one on the back.
They're called little dick hats.
Dick hats. Excellent deduction, Kirkland, because you're spot on with that. Yeah, this is something that is in the works, and sure enough, it is me and Ruben that is basically hosting this, and it is a new podcast series that we're going to be popping off with, and more details will be coming. It'll probably be aimed for the summer is when we're going to try and put it out. But
we're in summer.
No, this is definitely spring. May is easily springtime still.
We're not in the summer yet.
But when does summer officially start?
Summer, I would say June.
Okay. June? Give it a quick Google.
Mid-June. But yeah,
I would say late June. If we're guessing. I'll look it up.
But yeah, keep in touch.
So apparently June 20th. That's what it says. So I guess, but whatevs. And then Kirklin Petzer, as always, we are doing weekly Twitch streams. Last week you guys did the lunch lady. That looked like lots of fun. I got a little bit of it, and yeah, that was crazy. I want to play that on the stream this year when we do it, because that looked like tons of fun. But what do you guys got cooking all over there? Because as always, if you have an Amazon Prime account, please, if you're not using your Twitch Prime subscription, just send it over here, and it helps grow the podcast, helps grow that side of the podcast. So what's going on this weekend over there, and what's the daytime you thinking?
Yeah, so I haven't coordinated with Taylor or Dylan if I'm having them on Sunday. So I'm honestly leaning towards earlier Sunday. I feel like Sunday is just the go-to Twitch day. So if ever you're wondering, just tune in on Sunday unless you hear otherwise. I feel like it'll be rarely that I'll be doing it during the week. Maybe sometimes on Saturday, but it'll be definitely a safe bet for Sunday. I'm thinking I might do, again, I'll have to coordinate with Taylor. So might just do a solo stream. I mean, I have Resident Evil that I'll have to play through at some point in time, because that little introduction playthrough that I had with, I think it was under 2 hours, but I definitely got a taste of what the game is, and it's got me wanting to go back for more, and it was definitely entertaining on stream. So if I'm not able to tie down Taylor or Dylan with a co-op game, I'll probably be just jumping into some Resident Evil.
I support you doing a part 2. I'll gladly take the Sunday off if you do a part 2, because it was good.
You definitely at some point got to do part 2, even though it's not this Sunday, because you got to keep going. Yeah,
I was gonna say it'll probably be more than 2 parts. I don't think I can bang out. I don't know how long the game is. I guess Travis, you just recently beat it.
I did beat it finally. Yeah, I feel like it would, if you were to play in 2-hour increments, it would be like maybe a 6-part series.
Okay,
something like that.
I think that'd be good, honestly. Because I was right before I'm supposed to go down to the basement, which I heard shit gets pretty crazy. And no spoilers, please. But it's mentally taxing. So I feel like 2 hours is definitely a safe period to go with. But yeah, just stay tuned on all our social medias. You'll hear about when and where the streams and what game.
Well, there you go. So we are going to get into some news, but before that, this is a newscast, and we always like to have some fun and talk about some topics or everything like that. And I will put a time code in the description if you want to skip ahead right to the news. We're talking about Ghost Rider, and we're talking about Venom, talking about all this stuff and everything like that. So what I wanted to say is earlier, you would have heard me, I said, go rate, subscribe, and review us on Apple Podcasts. And we say, hey, could you give us a 5-star written review? Because if you don't know anything about podcasting with YouTube, with algorithms, stuff like that, interactions help. Subscriptions, likes, even dislikes sometimes can help on the YouTube front. Podcast, same thing. That helps you go up the charts, so it helps you spread to new people you haven't seen before, because for some reason, if you get a 5-star review, you might just like upshot 30 places in the charts and whatnot. So it does help. It's not just like hey, could you do this for us? It does help, and people look at it. So we had a review recently. So go over, please, any criticism we'll take. And don't think because I'm about to roast this person that's something going to happen to you. I just want to get some, honest criticism, some stuff. And I guess this is honest criticism, but I guess this is just where opinions differentiate. So I don't know, this person, Kevin, his name's Kevin Ski, I think. It's Kevon, and then
I thought you were going to name drop. You're spelling it out now for
it's a fake name. It's a fake name on Apple Podcast reviews. But anyways, so hits us with the good old 1 star, 1 out of 5. So boom, takes the rain down big time. Top headline, almost 3 minute in. All right, what could that be about? Freaking ads. Spread them out. Then post ads. You beg for money. Done. Okay, so I've said this many times. We explained this a long time ago when we first got ads. But the thing is, yes, we have ads. I would venture to guess, unless they're getting paid high amounts like a Joe Rogan on a Spotify, majority of the podcasts you listen to have ads. Now, we do have an ad-free option, but of course that would be begging for money. But we have an ad-free option like many other places do. But there's podcasts that I've listened to. There's one in particular that he has a podcast network. He's a wrestling guy. All his podcasts start with about 7 to 9 minutes of ads. Now, do I like that? No. Do I sit there and listen to them all? No. I don't expect you guys to do that for us, but there's a skip button. That's as easy as it is. And this is the thing where I was talking with somebody today on Twitter, and it's just like, you cannot win, ladies and gentlemen. You really can't, because I remember years ago when we were sitting around in Dylan's basement around one mic all the time, we would get, hey, the audio quality, hey, it's not that good, blah, blah, blah. So what we did, we busted our tails off. We got the opportunity to get ads, and then we got all this new gear. We got a bunch of other stuff, recording software. This is paid for as far as us talking right now. Like, we have to pay to talk, to all three of us to have like a good connection and quality and whatnot. So all that money goes back in the podcast. And this is the thing, like, people, like, we've gone this before where, you guys show up unprepared, you're not working. Like, you don't understand like how much work we actually have to do as far as thumbnails, planning out, scheduling, getting the topics, uploading, all this sort of stuff. And like the ads, I know people don't like them. I don't like them either, but it's something to incorporate, because we got ads, I think 4.5 years into the podcast. For all those years, we were completely in the red. We would spend our own money. Go look up on Spreaker or SoundCloud, especially Spreaker. Go look up and we do 4 podcasts a week, a minimum. So go look at how many hours that is and what that would cost. We would spend all that money. We'd have to buy the gear. We'd have to buy all this, the capture card stuff. We would buy all that out of our pocket. So these ads, yeah, I know some people don't like them. Some podcasts don't do them, and that's great. But for us, the reason is because it goes all back in. And like I said, this like Zoom and stuff like that. All these things we pay for, and the ads, they don't bug me at all, and they shouldn't bug the other people, because to me, the ads show how hard we worked, because we have been doing this for many years, and we've done reviews fucking, even right now, we're still doing reviews, midnight, whatnot. We're trying to get stuff out there. We're trying to grow and all these things. And just the fact that this numbskull can't comprehend, like, there's a skip button. It's a free podcast. You literally have paid nothing to listen to this. It's right there. And like I said, the ads don't bug me when I see them because some people are like, oh, it's a lot of ads. The reason is just because all this time that we're spending gives us a little something back. We did for so many years of not ads, so many years of spending our own money. And that's the thing where even the podcast network, that's happened because of the ads, and they had ads. I would have loved to have had ads day one. And do we make a copious amount of money? No, we're still all doing our jobs. So clearly it's just to help out with things like this. All of it goes back to the podcast. And oh my goodness. I forgot to ask you to give me the one, Taylor. I'm so mad. But yeah, it's just that there you go. Thank you very much. It's just that I don't understand certain people, how they don't get it. This is something that we are doing for free. And yeah, the ads, they're there, but you just hit the button. And the thing is, Kevin Ski or whatever you are, you had to listen to this podcast and you had to leave a review. And guess what? Thank you for your fucking $1 because you give us a little bit of money that way. So every time I get to look at that 1-star review, I go, oh, Kevin Ski, he gave us some fucking money to keep this thing going, to try and grow it. When people say they want more content, the reason we can do 4 podcasts a week is because, oh, look, people are supporting it and we can actually pay for things and whatnot. All these things happen for a reason. We're like, I just don't understand, man. You need to go out. You need to see some light. You need to stop fucking just, I don't know, looking at you porn. Like, I'm sure you have a great time there. Have a great time here, you know?
Oh, I don't think he does go on the you know what's because they got ads on that too, I reckon. So he probably isn't doing any of that.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, unless they're an alien breed, I do not I just don't get it. I really don't. And that's why I will take a 1-star all the time. There's somebody that gave us 1 star and we changed some things and they came back. So you know what? But that is not going to change just because that helps support the podcast. I will never get it. So Kevin Ski, I hope you're listening because that's happened before where people say, oh, I'm done. And then I rip them and then they come back, oh, why were you so mean? I really don't care. Like, go somewhere else, man. Please find me these great podcasts that don't have these ads, that are these top people.
Well, not just podcasts. There's no mediums out there that don't have ads. You watch live cable TV, they got like 2-minute ads, like commercials and stuff. Like everything has ads. YouTube has ads. Spotify doesn't have ads, but you have to pay. Just like if you want ad-free stuff, you pay for Patreon. Simple as that.
Yeah. So like I said, that's the final straw as far as me saying that. Just like, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not like, oh yeah, these ads, just because it shows how hard we work. Someone came to us and said, hey, your audience is big enough. We feel that we could advertise here and people will actually make a profit or something like that. So to me, that shows how hard we've worked. And that's the be all end all. So I'm going to write down this 18 minutes. What do you guys have? Do you guys have anything to say on Kevin Ski?
I was going to say Kevin can join Sunday's stream Twitch. There'll definitely be pre-ad rollouts and all that fun stuff.
Oh, Kevin Ski. So there we go. Just a little rant. I want to get that out of the way because it's always a fun time. Because at the end of the day, what you gonna do? I just got a good laugh. Sometimes it doesn't beat, Tyler Briggs is the worst as far as 1-star reviews, but it was still a good one. So Taylor, you can cut the one because we're gonna get into some news right now. Let's start off with this. Taylor Field has been talking, and he's been kind of thinking this could happen. But we have a report from the hashtag show. Now that is, I'd say, like a C+ tier. They've had some big scoops before, but it's still in the rumor category. It's not official. But I'm going to give you the bullet points, and of course, I'm going to throw to Taylor first as far as Ghost Rider coming to the MCU. So obviously, I think a year ago when Ghost Rider was going to have that show on Hulu, we were like, okay, it got canceled. Clearly, there's some plans there, and feels like the plans might finally be emerging. The rumor is, and there's a few of them, that he's going to make his first appearance in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. The reasoning is because apparently there's been some like concept art, not leaked, but someone has seen something. They go, why would you have concept art for Ghost Rider if he's not in this film? The idea is that it's going to be a cameo. I don't know what that means as far as, is it literally just like he rides the bike behind Doctor Strange, or does he have a role? But the idea is he has a cameo, and then going forward, he's going to be semi like the Hulk. Hashtag Travis told you so. Semi like the Hulk. Well, he will be appearing in other people's films, but not necessarily getting his own solo project. And the other word is that neither Gabriel Luna or Nick Cage will be coming back. It's supposedly going to be Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider, but it's going to be recast. So Taylor Field, I'm going to throw it to you as far as, yes, it's a rumor, but you're somebody I will admit that has been calling out about Ryder and Doctor Strange too. So there's part of me that doesn't want to be right, just because you've been, I think, just trying to will that in existence. But what do you think about that, and what do you think about the other things coming with that rumor?
Yeah, I am basically going to sleep every night just like manifesting this. Like I'm on the verge of getting a, what are they called, mood boards, and just putting it above my ceiling, on my ceiling. So when I wake up, I just see Ghost Rider there, and it just manifests and creates it. So like he needs to be in this movie. I don't see any other outcome, any other plausible way around it. Like he has to. So for him to pop off in this, I think it's great. That's what I wanted from the get-go. He doesn't need his own movie to kickstart. He just can, boom, appear in this film because it makes the most total sense. And if he's riding behind Doctor Strange through the rifts of the cosmos on his bike, I am so down for that. I'm so very happy that it is Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider. That's what I want. Again, not that I have anything against the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider. I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I breezed through and watched on YouTube all of his scenes because I just love that Ghost Rider. And I do like a lot of the stuff he was doing, but I couldn't really get on board with like the Dodge Charger rider. Like I need the motorbike. That's what sells it for me. So plus I'm hoping that the way he looks, the way I'm explaining this is that he's confirmed. That's just how I'm going to talk. So I'm hoping the way he looks is much more on point with Spirit of Vengeance, or just much more in detail, because the look in Spirit of Vengeance, like that aesthetic was so pleasing, just like it bubbling and melting, like his clothes and everything on the skull. I found the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. one looked very much similar to the original Ghost Rider film. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it just looks so not convincing, I guess. Your Spirit of Vengeance just looks so on point, so very
I don't like
realistic.
the stripe on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That little like thing
on his jacket.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
Were you just looking at him
accurate.
now?
Yeah, comparing with Johnny. I guess sorry, is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Johnny Blaze?
No.
Oh, okay,
No,
so
in
the
that
Johnny Blaze one,
in that kind of
new character they created who gets the mantle of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of lore, I guess, Johnny Blaze, they kind of hint at, I don't think they actually say Johnny Blaze, but they hint at this other rider like hit him,
show him
like car accident. They do show him he got into like a car accident, Robbie, and then this other guy like put the power, transferred it over to him, but they don't really confirm it's Johnny. It's just like, take it how you want, I guess.
Yeah,
it's definitely Johnny. He's on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
he looks exactly like Johnny, but those shows are not canon, because I think recently on Disney Plus they just moved that and Peggy Carter to the legacy section of the Marvel things. So yeah, you don't want to be in
the rejects.
You don't want to be in the legacies, especially if you watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier like special features hour-long documentary. They're like, this is the first time ever the TV shows and movies have interacted and been connected. And it's like, yeah, well, screw everybody else, right?
What happened to the Peggy Carter series? Did you like it?
I never watched it because I liked Peggy Carter. And you know what? It's one thing that now it's on Disney Plus and no commercials. see, I told you commercials, but I just meant like in the sense of like, sorry, our commercials of like we do 3 to 4 like 3-minute breaks or something like that. Where these other commercials, there's a bunch in between, and even then, I have the option of I waited for an ad-free thing. I didn't go to fucking Twitter or something like, you know what? Why is Peggy Carter? It's like, no, I understand. That's the way it goes with that show. I never watched. I know they introduced some like other MCU characters, but I think people liked it. It just didn't have the audience. And I guess for me, because it was a prequel, I was kind of checked out of like, okay, like I like Peggy Carter enough, but do I need to see her create S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, not really,
Yeah.
So, and then Taylor, so obviously, how do you feel about Nick Cage being, as right now, looking like it's a done deal? He's had his time, but it's over as Johnny Blaze.
I definitely didn't anticipate him coming back. If he did, I would have totally been open to it, because again, he just it's going to be hard to compete with him, because the Ghost Rider, I take it like, as far as Johnny Blaze goes, like this guy's insane. He's got to be completely bonkers. And that scene where he puts the phone in the guy's mouth, he's like, where's Garrigan? And he's like, I'm going to eat your stinking soul. I'm gonna let him out. Like he's just going back to my
audition tape. Yeah.
my audition tape. Yeah, shout outs to Marvel Alliance. I'm getting into that zone again. But no, I just think that it's gonna be hard to top such a performance because he's just
okay.
Hear me out. He's insane, and he just delivers that role so well. So that's what I want to see if they get. I don't know who I would cast as him. Oh, that would be difficult.
Well, I think we did that. We did a Marvel fan cast not too long ago when we casted. I don't know who we all. I know someone casted Keanu Reeves, but go back. It might still be in the feed, but we did like a Disney Plus. We usually do. We haven't done a fan cast draft in a while because there's not been much to cast, but we did like Moon Knight. That's where, because that's where I said I wanted Oscar Isaac, and I got that right. So we did do it somewhere. It's in the Ethernet. That's when Kirklin and Taylor learned that Miss Marvel was not a white person because they both casted a white person. And I was like, because I didn't know their names. And then like later on, I'm like, I look them up. I'm like, these people are they're white. So it was an honest mistake, but it was so funny. Keanu Reeves, I think Keanu this is the role he's born to play in the part of the MCU. Because like apparently Feige once said, or some producer like, oh, we're always thinking of a role for Keanu. I think Keanu, that's the right role. Because I don't think Johnny Blaze you don't need a great actor. You need someone that can be a little kooky. And I think he would get into it and have some fun with it, some craziness. Because there's other characters of people like when they want for Wolverine, no, get out of here. Like there's lots of roles people, or like there was that rumor going around that Sony wanted him for Kraven the Hunter, and it was like, no, please don't. I don't think Keanu Reeves and Kraven the Hunter go together. So I think it could be possible. So, and you like the idea of him because you said about him getting his own film that you don't like. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because like obviously right now there's a report that came out that Eternals and Shang-Chi might be not playing in China for a multitude of reasons. So I think that would kind of get rid of that. But Norman Reedus.
These are all from Kirklin, so shout outs to Kirklin for providing.
In the shadows.
Those are definitely the two I hear the most. I would definitely take Keanu. Norman Reedus wouldn't be bad either. Like these are all very, but I think at the same time, actually, I don't know. Like, could you like to ask you? Do you go with an actor like that that's established, or do you go with a no name because lots of times he'll just be the Skull character? I'm not saying no name like they'll get a guy off the street like Taylor Field, but someone that's like an up and coming actor where it's like we don't need a big star for Ghost Rider because we want him to be the rider most of the time. Where if you get a big star like Downey, like obviously you don't got to show the face all the time, but still that was a big thing, right? Of like the face mask in between, taking his helmet off. So what route do you go if Feige comes to you and say, hey, what famous person or up and comer?
It's hard to say. Like again, the Norman Reedus pick I think is great because him playing like just kind of like a crazy character. Like I defer to Boondock Saints when he was like a little like crazy in that. Like I think he can definitely do it. And again, he's great on motorbike, so he can do his own stunts. But it's hard to say because Keanu is very, I feel like a calm person. I don't know if he would necessarily fit the role of going full batshit crazy. Again, I'm thinking this is someone who has to have like their soul is being shared with movies. A demon, a devil, a fallen angel, I should say. So it's hard to say. I would probably lean more towards Norman Reedus, but I'm not saying I'm not opposed to Keanu Reeves. I would totally be down for that. So
but either way, you're in the star category. You want someone known to be playing the rider.
I want it to be someone known. I want to be a juicy name, someone that we can all hop on the bandwagon for. And I reiterate the fact that I think it's perfect to have him just kind of shadow as a cameo in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And just appear like again, like if they just all of a sudden we get Spider-Man 3 and then all of a sudden we just get like the roar of a motorbike and then he just appears out of nowhere. Like I'd be like, oh my god,
opening
I wasn't
credits.
Expecting that. Opening credits. Or even
Peter's
if we
on the
get
back.
like we
Toby's Peter.
Toby's on the back. I just want to go home. There's no way home. And then the boom title card.
Like there's just so many options. Like again, I know I'm just naming off stuff that I know is confirmed, like She-Hulk, like Wakanda Forever. He could just pop in. Like, there's so many different like.
I feel like the ones you could name are the ones you're naming are the ones that are not like She-Hulk's like going to be a procedural like 30-minute drama. What was the other one you named there?
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda. So yeah, they're going to take this show about Wakanda and the riders just going to be riding through Wakanda like ruining their crops. I don't think so.
No, they're going to need some help and they're going to enlist the spirit of vengeance.
Yeah, that's who they trust. What is your, because you've been pitching this for a while as far as him in Doctor Strange 2. Give me, actually, I'll let you think about it. Let's, I'm going to go to Kirklin, but what I want you to think about is I want you to pitch me the scene, how we meet Ghost Rider in Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness. So you think about
probably
that.
Has like a whole script laid out. Like
give me your best
scenarios.
one 2-minute pitch. That's what we're saying right now. So you think about that. And then Kirklin, so what do you think about him, first of all, just appearing in Doctor Strange 2 as far as a debut, if this is true?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting. I really liked those Ghost Riders like when I first saw them as a kid. I haven't really revisited them, but I just always thought he was a really cool, badass character. And like Taylor's passion for it just like seeps over onto me. So I just get like excited about when he gets a big reveal for him. So I'm excited for Taylor. I'm excited for me. I'm excited to just see him. I feel like that's a really good introduction too, because like Multiverse of Madness, just a lot of bad shit. Craziness is going to be going on, I'm assuming, and like that's just a perfect place to have a flaming head dude on a hopefully a nice Harley Davidson or something, not like a Camaro route. I'm sure they'd have the rider. Yeah, I'm sure Feige would want to have him on the actual bike, because otherwise I feel like I would see that and be like, I think that's Ghost Rider, but he's not on his bike, so I don't know, maybe it's his cousin or something. And just like on the topic of like who could be casted for him or like big star wise, it's interesting because I've only seen like obviously the Nick Cage movie, and every other like media that I've seen Ghost Rider in was like the games, like Ultimate Alliance or something, and in that like he's just always Ghost Rider. I almost feel like in the MCU they would go that route where he's pretty much just Ghost Rider. Like maybe once they get to his solo film, that's when it's like more personal, and then you like get like the guy without the flaming head. But I feel like I definitely agree with Travis where he would be more of like a I almost said a Hulk type character where where you just have him as the character that he is. It's interesting because like with Bruce Banner, you do get a lot of Bruce Banner because he's like a scientist and stuff. I don't know how the character of Johnny Blaze would fit with like an Avengers type setting or something like that. Yeah, that's just so random to me. So I would like it. Like I could even see him go the route of just have like a stand-in guy as Ghost Rider, and then later on when it gets to his movie, that's when they cast someone who can actually like, because it's just so weird to me to like picture him going flame off to like talk to someone and then just like flame on when he's kicking ass. I agree with you there, because like when you're talking about like the stand-in versus, you know, an actual actor, that's almost what they do. Like it is what they do for Rocket Raccoon. Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, plays Rocket Raccoon, and then Bradley Cooper comes in for a few hours. Yeah, Bradley Cooper comes in for a few hours, records his voice, and gets a big fat check. You know, like I do think like, because I was always pitching the Hulk thing, because so if Taylor's right about the Strange thing, I'm right about this, because to reiterate, I've said that one, I just never, I don't know, I didn't see them going right away here's Ghost Rider the movie, or here's Ghost Rider the series, because yes, Kirklin may have liked them when they're younger, and yes, Sarah Field loves them, but both those movies are pretty well not received, so I feel like that character needs like a little rehab, as far as I think mainstream might seem like, oh yeah, Ghost Rider, those were those two bad movies. The majority of people might say that, so I think they need some rehab. I think they got to make him cool again, because I think that's the biggest thing as far as like, I love Incredible Hulk, but I remember after Avengers, I was like, oh, this is how you use Hulk in a team up. It was perfect. It was just the right amount. And then they did it a few more times, but I think it worked very well on Ragnarok. And then we got Smart Hulk and stuff like that. So I think this works. I think that because the rumor is it's just concept art, and they said there's been no casting, I could see this movie. You don't even need a name. Like I know they might still do that. Like they might get like, I say that, but then look at they have fucking Vin Diesel playing Groot. That's what I was gonna say, because at first I was thinking of Bradley Cooper as Rocket, but then I'm like, okay, well he's actually just kind of using his normal voice. But with Ghost Rider, I would like, you can't just have a regular dude talking. Like you gotta have some sort of demonic force there. So I'm like, I don't think you really need to have a big name. But then you have, you know, Feige just writing big checks to Vin Diesel and stuff, saying, what is it, 4 words?
Yeah. So that's why you could
Or three
maybe get like the same way he did this in Power Rangers, but like how Bryan Cranston was Zordon, and he filmed like a few things on set, but then most time he's just in the big bubble Zordon. You could get a voice, get somebody that you go like Keanu Reeves, where it's like, okay, and that's the thing I don't even know if Keanu wants to do, because like, do you even then, like, if he's playing Ghost Rider in the CG suit, like, because that's what Ruffalo does, but it's like, do you want to do that? Do you really want to, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, as someone, if I wanted to act, I don't know if I would necessarily want to be Ghost Rider. I feel like there's lots of stuntmen out there where it's like, hey, pay this person, then go get a voice. So I guess you could get an actor to just play the Johnny Blaze sections, but I agree with Kirklin where I feel like he should probably mostly just be Ghost Rider almost all the time. You know, like there's not going to be a reason for him to really be Johnny Blaze. Maybe he gets depowered once, or that solo film. But like I said, I don't think a solo film or series is, I think that's pretty far off, even if he comes into the MCU, which would be next year. I think with Doctor Strange, it'd be next year. I still think that's pretty off. I feel like he'd appear in this. He can maybe appear in Blade, maybe Moon Knight, Midnight Suns for sure. Other super, like whatever happens with Wanda. So, Kirkland Pats or GeekVerse podcast, you had your hand up.
I also feel like with the whole Keanu thing, like if he really wanted to be in the MCU, like he's at that stage where he can just like totally just be patient and just wait for like the ideal role. And I feel like Feige would kind of have that same mindset too. Cause like, yeah, you know, Keanu's getting older, but I still feel like he'll just, even if he's like old and gray and he just like comes into like some like golden moment and like the whole crowd just goes crazy on the casting. I don't know. I'm okay with him being patient, especially if I'm getting Keanu in there, especially since he's on my comic book draft. So
yeah, that whole, well, what do I got? I got 2 more months, so I need no one cast so I can win this year, you know. So I want to do that. So Taylor, I gave you a few minutes to think about it. So Feige comes to you, say, okay, we are introducing Ghost Rider in this film. Give me your 2-minute pitch of how we introduce him in this film for it to make sense.
Give yourself the one too.
Yeah, give yourself.
I want to get the
one.
full effect. I want to feel like Feige on Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sit back. You got your hat. Kirkland has the hat and everything.
He's got the hat. Yeah. Okay, Feige. So, yeah, Ghost Rider is gonna pop off in Multiverse of Madness. So you're gonna have Wanda, Doctor Strange. Now, I don't have an example for what their scenario is gonna be, if they're gonna be fighting or if they're gonna be teamed up against a more sinister enemy. That I don't know yet. But what I do know is someone will come in to cease the conflict, either break the two up, or just is going to ride in there and he's going to just decimate this enemy that they've teamed up to fight. And who is that going to be, you ask? Well, it's going to be Ghost Rider. So he's going to come in, and I almost picture my go-to is so much, so very reminiscent of Ultimate Alliance 3, where you have everyone kind of in the multiverse dystopian, whatever you want to call it, and then you have Ghost Rider. He just opens up a portal, he just comes in on his bike, he swings his chain around, takes out 10 dudes, and just is like going to town. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do that. I do feel like it's going to be, again, like I said, Doctor Strange, Wanda teamed up fighting a major villain, or not a major villain, but a significant enemy in this realm, or it's going to be the two head to head, and Ghost Rider is just going to pop in, either break up the fight, or he's going to team up with Doctor Strange to kind of settle the feud here a little bit. That being said, I do think that this will segue to the Punisher becoming Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think you guys are on point. I think you don't need at all him to go into human form. If you do have someone represent him or be casted as him, I wouldn't be surprised, because the MCU loves to do that with these characters now, and he could just be in CGI form the entire time. So I think they could have a big name behind that role. But that being said, I don't doubt it at all that they're going to transition. Now, if they end up keeping, I can't remember the guy's name who plays the Punisher in the Netflix series, if they keep him around, if they keep John around as Punisher, then him taking on the mantle of Rider, being the Cosmic Ghost Rider, I could totally see that. Again, I haven't seen the show The Punisher, but him as an actor, I could see him as Ghost Rider. So if he does for sure get into the MCU, I don't know, was that confirmed?
time. It's been talked about the same way Charlie Cox was talked about. So I feel like if we see Charlie Cox in No Way Home, which that's the rumor, but we've not gotten out, so we've not even seen him on set photo because I think they're doing that thing where they drape him and keep him away. I think if the rumors were, hey, Feige likes a certain amount of characters from that universe, and Charlie Cox does pop up this December, I think that almost confirms like, oh yeah, if he wants to, he can come back and be John Castle, Frank Castle.
Because then I for sure see we getting Cosmic Ghost Rider, but I think that'll be down the line. Again, I don't think we're gonna get Galactus this phase. I think it'll be like a few phases down the road, and I think that's when we transition to Cosmic Ghost Rider. So until then, we're gonna get Midnight Suns that's gonna pop off, and we're gonna enjoy this ride with Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider, and then eventually they will go through the transition. If we get John Bernthal coming in as Punisher, it'll be perfect. Then he'll take on the mantle, and then they'll lead to the big bad Galactus coming in later on.
All right, so I have a few questions, but just for you, Kevin Ski, we're going to throw to you a few ads, you motherfucker. So we'll be right back in a second. All right, we're back. I hope you really like that, Kevin, just for you. So the thing is, I have two questions. One, I like that one half of the pitch is that Ryder comes through like a portal and talks them down. I love like that's the debut goes where you like they're in a fight and he just says, no, like we got to figure it. So I don't know.
Well, he's not talking. He's like swinging his chain in below and he like shoots hellfire out. Like I got like you wanted the action sequence. I got it.
Well, and that's my follow-up is like, oh, so this is supposed to be a cameo. I feel like, so in your opinion, the cameo is they're fighting somebody, he just rides by, takes dudes out, and then just rides away again, and that's how we see him?
Yeah, it will not it will not be anything along the lines of they're going through space and they just happen to see a couple watchers down below. Like, it's not going to be like that.
So, like, but why does he, like, ride by, take all these enemies, and then ride off? Like, what is the story reason for him not sticking around?
I feel... Well, because he's probably got hellfire to burn, you know. He's obviously a very busy guy, but you have to remember, I don't think he's not in full control to just join up like you would in Ultimate Alliance. This is a character that's dealing with so much craziness, and he's running hell at this time and everything. So he's clearly going to be managing things, and he probably just can't up and go. So I see it as we're going to have these two going through different realms, kind of like what was going on when Doctor Strange was like through his mind going through different realms when the oh gosh, why can't I remember? The
Time Stone?
No, the Grand Master or whatever her name was.
Ancient One.
The Ancient One was sending him through like different multiverses at the time to show him the realities. And so I feel like you're going to have Doctor Strange and Wanda kind of transcending through all that, and they're going to end up in Ghost Riders. And Ghost Rider is going to be like, what's going on? And he's going to like break it up or some craziness like that. And Doctor Strange is going to be like, you know, we're sorry. Like, this isn't what it's supposed to be. Like, we're out. And Ghost Rider's like, you guys are gone. Get out of here. Like, I kind of feel like it'll be like a brief camo, like the length of Thor Ragnarok, where Thor kind of pops in and fights Surtur. So I feel like it'll be something to that kind of length, but not Ghost Riders meeting the same end as Surtur. It'll be much more empowering.
Man, I would not want to be in the theater if they introduced Ghost Rider just to kill him off in the first
movie.
Fucking
douse them in water.
Yeah, I've always been surprised. I did always say that I thought they were going to go Cosmic Ghost Rider. I still think there's a good chance of that with Frank Castle, just because the skull is like kind of a controversial thing. So maybe I know people might go like, "Oh, that's too much too soon." But I thought, you could kind of rebrand Ghost Rider, rebrand Punisher. But yeah, so that is apparently a rumor. Kirklin, you have anything else to say on this rumor?
What's your pitch, Kirklin?
I don't know if I have a pitch lined up. I would just refer Feige to Taylor Field, because he's got all the best ideas regarding Ghost Rider's introduction. But I also I definitely feel like whether it happens sooner or later, we'll get like the Galactic Ghost Rider at some point in time in the MCU. I feel like it'll just reach that point where, especially since we're like getting to that level of scale of the universe, I feel like it's just inevitable to get that version of the Ghost Rider. The only thing I know about Cosmic Ghost Rider is that at some point in time he like goes in and murders baby Thanos. Do you think like possibly that's when we see like Thanos again? Is just like in that sort of timeline? I don't know if we get baby Thanos. That might be a little hard to sell to the general public, but like just see Thanos
again. You think that'd be hard to sell? Like, look at Baby Yoda.
I mean,
You
it's
know.
not Dawn of the Dead just murdering babies on camera like that. That's what I
Well,
picture, and that's a pretty graphic scene for like a Marvel type film.
yeah, I think it's pretty possible, to be honest. I think that
Yeah.
was such a big run, and I feel like if you were to do a Disney Plus series, that's the series right there. Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
His plan is to go back into, like, the only difference is, though, I feel like we might actually have a better shot of it being a what if episode, because the difference is in that universe, if I recall, Thanos is still alive. So it's like the reason to go back in time is to stop Thanos from doing all this bad shit and taking him out, right? Where right now he's already taken out. Now, I've always said Thanos will return. He's in that glove, just like all our heroes were. All it takes is for one bad guy to get the stones and be like, I'm going to release Thanos. So maybe he gets back in the world and Frank Castle goes, oh, hey, I'm going to do this. Or maybe they like reroute it and like Thanos somehow killed his family, which I don't know about that. But I think they could do, much like Civil War, they'll do an adaptation and take like the essence. Maybe it's not Baby Thanos, maybe it's someone else. But I think that idea of Cosmic Ghost Rider with Baby Thanos, I think that would be a massive Disney Plus series. Once they establish Ghost Rider, I think that could be tons of fun.
That was probably discussed too in the writers' room for Endgame. They're like, "How are we going to bring everyone back?" And then Feige's just
Ghost
like,
Rider.
"Well, we can bring in Ghost Rider," but then he got talked down, and he's like, "Oh, I just want him in there."
I feel like if they were to do a what if series, it would be more along the lines, because I know that Cosmic Ghost Rider training Baby Thanos or whatever as like the Punisher is in that comic line series, but I feel like that would be the what if, which has Frank Castle's Cosmic Ghost Rider training Thanos, and it creates that alternate reality.
Maybe I could see them doing this thing where they establish Cosmic Ghost Rider and they go like, what if he was around when Thanos was around? And that's how we get him going back with the baby and everything like that. So it could be possible. I think what if, or like what Loki could spawn, these like multiverse shows and movies. I think those are where you could see these type of storylines play out, because I don't think you're ever going to see Baby Thanos in the movie, though. That's what I'll say. I don't think they're going to go that route. So.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Well, we'll see if it comes true. Doctor Strange is supposed to come out, I think, May next year. I think that's the date. So hopefully it stays there, and we'll be reviewing it and talking about the hype and everything that leading up to it. That's when we'll see Wanda next. But unfortunately, when we see Venom next, at least for me, will be later on this year, September 24th. We got the first trailer for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Fuck that title so much. I was on Marvel Alliance. I did a big breakdown because I didn't know we were kind of 50-50 if we were going to do a newscast, and then plus a viewer asked, someone did a poll, and the voters had me come back on to hear my pain. So I want to hear these two guys, because actually we didn't talk much about it in the chat. I think Taylor just mentioned something about Carnage's hair, new haircut, but that was about it. So I'm going to start with you, Kirklin, as the Venom boy, the leader of the Venom boys in this podcast. What did you think about this trailer? Obviously, we saw Venom and Eddie bonding over breakfast. It's been a year and a half since Venom 1. That's what they say, timeline. So they've been together quite a while. And then we got to see Cletus Cassidy in all his full glory as Carnage. So what do you think about this trailer?
Yeah, so I watched it, I think yesterday, when I was on Twitter and I saw your reaction to it before I had seen it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And there was parts of the trailer I actually liked, but for the most part, yeah, I thought it was pretty bad, honestly. I thought like all the humor was like the type of humor that I wasn't jiving with on like the first movie, and I feel like that's all the humor that was in the trailer, and I just wasn't really vibing with it there. Yeah, I mean, I am excited to see the movie, but I feel like this trailer like deters me a little bit from it. But like, I still want to see the movie, just because. Say what you will about the first movie, I had a fun time watching it. I think it was like the four of us with Dylan in there, and like we were having a good time. It doesn't mean it's a good movie, but I know I'll have a good time watching this one. Hopefully that we can see it in theaters. But yeah, for this trailer, it like probably brought me down like 0.5. I want to say I'm on like the same level, but like, yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of it, of like all the humor stuff, and I don't know. It's just like
what do you think about Carnage's look?
The live like action at the end, not Cletus Cassidy with the little haircut.
He got the haircut. Yeah. He looks better with the haircut, at least. He doesn't look like he's goofy.
I thought Carnage looked actually pretty good, honestly. Mm-hmm. I again, it's like a dark shot. We see him like quickly at the end. And like that was like my biggest pro from Venom 1 was just Venom himself. I thought he looked good. I thought the CGI around him looked good. So I am hoping for just a lot of that, and hopefully not a lot of like Eddie going to the store with Venom just talking to him and like just doing
you're
shit.
gonna get a
like,
lot of that.
Yeah, I know, and that's kind of what I'm worried about, because that was the stuff I did not care for in the first movie. Really, I liked the actual Venom parts when he was kicking ass and like just all that stuff that I love about that character. And again, it's probably wishful thinking, but that's what I'm hoping for going into it. But they showed a lot of the other stuff in the trailer, which kind of had me a little nervous.
Taylor Field, what do you think about this one? I think you're somebody that quite enjoyed the first one, so.
Yeah, I wasn't super opposed to the first one. This one shares again the same aesthetic, feels very much like a sequel. As far as Carnage goes, I couldn't really see him in this trailer, so I don't really know what he looks like. It was just a lot of explosions of his symbiotes and stuff, but I wanted to actually see like him standing and see him like, which is fine. I'm sure they're saving it for the movie. They can't spoil obviously everything in the trailer, but
well, they did show. I feel like they show him twice quite a bit. I feel like he's dark.
He's dark. Like, but that's the thing. The scenes were dark too, so you couldn't really see what was going on, like on like his detail and everything like that. But again, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited for this to a point. I'm not excited that Sony has Feige by the balls and is just totally like using and abusing them to just rope into the MCU, which we will get into. But
I don't know if it's by the ball. I don't think they have Feige by the balls.
No. Oh yeah,
and don't take my analogy. Don't take my analogy that I'm going to use in a second here.
But I'm not opposed to this movie. The trailer did get me excited. Again, seeing all the different kind of Easter eggs, and then when you were dropping like, oh my god, like there's toxin like probably coming down the line, which has me super excited, because when I remember just being younger thinking, okay, there's just Venom and Carnage, and then eventually figure out like, oh my god, like Carnage has an offspring and it's toxin. Like it's just this trilogy here is just really, really cool how they have this. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very stoked to see what this universe builds off of, because again, they're just saying like these characters aren't aware of Spider-Man, aren't aware of the Avengers. Like this is just Venom in his own realm, which is interesting. But it just is like that meme I said, like how can you be on the council but not be a master? I can't remember if that was in relation to this or something else.
Yes,
it was. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Jay Marvel lines because we did big breakdown there. I guess to my point is, I don't like the trailer. I'll describe Venom and Kevin Feige using two type of relationship sort of analogies. People always love those, right? So to me, the very first Venom, like I enjoyed it too, but I always say that, like when Woody Harrelson's end credit scene popped up, I was like, oh no, what are we doing here? And that was like the full realization. And that's like the thing of like, if you've ever had a one night stand and it was great for that night, and then when you wake up, you go, this was a mistake, whether it's a person look or whether it's a person's attitude, or they're just that you don't jive with them. You just go, you know what? I shouldn't have done this. And you don't want to call that person back. Now, this problem is Venom 2 is that person coming back in that same club or something like that. But now, and that's the thing with this trailer, that girl coming back, you know exactly what her deal is. This time with Venom, they tricked us with a bunch of dramatic trailers, and it was very comedic in the movie. Now we know it's comedic, so now that's on Front Street. So that's where it's like, I don't really want to do this again, but it's almost like, which we have an abundance of comic book movies, but it's like, hey, you know what? You're here, so let's just. But
there's a bunch of new stuff. There's a bunch of new stuff to shake it up. And
pretty well, yeah. That's what she's saying. Yeah, I'm showing you everything. And go, yeah, I guess. Like, who's your friend Cletus? Oh, that doesn't matter. Okay.
And she's leading. Is like, there's a possible like lead on like more future engagements, like Toxin.
Yeah. So that's it. And sometimes you just get lonely. You know what? Okay, here we go. Another ship in the sea. But with Feige having them by the balls, I don't think it's that. I really don't, because people have that narrative of like, I think it's Sony like really not abusing relationship, but really like they are name dropping. Like, look, we got the cool friend. And I use this analogy in our chat, and this is what it is if anyone has seen it, it's funny enough because Woody Harrelson is in this movie, An Indecent Proposal. That is Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore, and Robert Redford. Now, what happens is great married couple, they got great sexual chemistry, all that stuff between Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore. Demi Moore eventually meets the character. They both meet the character that Robert Redford's playing, and he's this billionaire. He's still a good-looking guy. He's Robert Redford, for God's sake. So, but he comes to them, and he makes a proposal, and he says, I want to spend one night with your wife, obviously doing all that stuff, having the good one night, cash and prizes. I want to spend one night with your wife, and I will give you $1 million. And I feel like that is exactly what the Sony and Disney / Marvel relationship is like, where Kevin Feige is saying like, hey, I really want Tom Holland, so I'm going to give you all this, and like I'm sure he doesn't like giving away these millions of dollars. And in this sense of giving away $1 million, it's just letting Sony kind of, we're kind of connected, or we might be in the universe, or the producers of Spider-Man Far From Home, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is where they're like, oh yeah, Venom's on his own world. He's unaware. I said this is a Marvel Alliance where it's like, if you're unaware of something, that still means it exists. That still means Spider-Man exists. And I feel like people, maybe they haven't forgotten, but we're just not talking about it. Venom and Morbius, we're assuming, are in the same universe. Well, Michael Keaton was in that Morbius trailer. So it's like they can say whatever they want. Like, oh yeah, this is a separate universe. We're not doing anything. But it's just like, I feel like they are, here's another analogy, they are the person in the friend zone of like, oh no, I love Katrina. I wouldn't do anything. We're just friends. Like, and that's the thing. Oh no, they're not in the same universe. We're just kind of the same thing. But the second Feige were to drop Trow, they would be all over. If they'd say, you know what, let's do the same thing. If Kevin Feige were to phone them tomorrow and be like, I want Tom Hardy's Venom in Avengers 6. Well, he'd be in Avengers 6. I guess it'd be Avengers 5. But that's the thing where I don't know. I just don't want this universe to go on anymore. But we still got 2 more movies coming. 2 more movies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to shout out the fact that we have different variants of the Daily Bugle popping off. We have like the podcast conspiracy take with Jonah Jameson returning, and then we have now the official branded Sam Raimi's Daily Bugle popping back in, so that's interesting. And again, like you pointed out, the article said Avengers and it had Nightmare underneath. No,
it just said Avengers. We didn't see the A, so we don't know.
Right,
for sure.
The Revengers is confirmed for sure.
Yeah.
And then another thing too. And
you want revenge? I want revenge. We all want revenge.
You brought up the point of saying like, again, what they're not aware, and again, Venom, them saying like it's not necessarily them know that Spider-Man is in this, and they kind of alluded like Spider-Man doesn't exist in this kind of realm at the moment, but it doesn't work like that because with Morbius there was pictures of Spider-Man for wanted posters, so yeah. I'm kind of confused at what they're trying to do.
They have no idea. It's the same as like DC. Sometimes it's the same as X-Men near the end of the universe, where it's like, how come you have this character here and this character here, but like one's in the 60s and one's in, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, like that's exactly, they're doing the Fox route of like, it doesn't matter. The continuity doesn't matter. So if Morbius and Venom do cross over, but then Venom was like, yeah, Spider-Man doesn't exist. Well, like clearly he does. He's right. Like you said, there's a poster of him, but then
he just lives in denial. That's all he does.
And then remember, it is Toby's Spider-Man on that poster. So we have Toby's Spider-Man on Morbius. We have Toby's Daily Bugle. So
that means there are 2 Venoms in Toby's universe.
2 Eddie Brocks as well. 2 Eddie Brocks as well. And that's where it's like they have no fucking clue. Like they don't like. Why are you using that Spider-Man? Why aren't you using Tom Holland? And like even to be safer, why wouldn't you use like Andrew Garfield's one? But I think they literally are just using Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man because like, well, that was the most successful one for a while, so
right.
Let's do that.
But
they're just hoping people forget about that little shot in the trailer.
They're treating it like the multiverses are colliding without anyone noticing. Like there's just multiple of the same people
Mandela
in one universe.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
What would you say, Taylor, if they Halloweened us, where they said we're gonna do more like with Toby in this universe, like with Morbius, Venom, and we're gonna just like the only continuity counts is Spider-Man 1 and 2. 3 is out.
That's like, what I was suspecting. I legit was wondering that, but I'm still confused because none of this makes sense. we have Doc Ock from they're not using James Franco. No, no one's using him for a
what
while.
happened to Harry? Oh, he died on that glider. The first
night. But it's just weird because they have Doc Ock coming back from Spider-Man 2 into Spider-Man No Way Home, and now they have the Sony stuff all in its own realm that's pulling stuff from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. So it's just a whole mixed can of worms. But the only logical outcome I can think of is that they are maybe just kind of throwing the Spider-Man 3 to the side, and they're just erasing that Eddie Brock, erasing that Sandman stuff and everything, and just kind of going down a new path with it, which would make sense because then you don't have to worry. He wasn't Hobgoblin, he was Green Goblin Jr. So
no, technically in the credits he was New Goblin. Don't forget.
He was New Goblin, right?
Oh yeah,
New Goblin.
Right. So again, that doesn't affect anything because they can still roll with the Hobgoblin with Peter's friend and Spider-Man No Way Home if they so choose. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's just a can of I don't even know.
Something.
It's a can of something.
We don't want to know what's in there. It's like some Resident Evil 7 food.
Oh, well, I don't need that. Well, thanks, Ethan. I know that. God damn. Anything else on this Venom business? We'll be reviewing. Yeah,
it's gonna be Carnage.
Yeah, there. E-Mine better come back and do a song for Carnage. Got that Carnage.
Did they change the hair because of the fans, or did they just do it because
Circus said
they edited it in?
They filmed the whole movie like that, and they're like, "Oh no, we gotta CGI it out like the Henry Cavill mustache." No, Circus said they took it off so he could he could act better. The main reason is I think it's just like it would have distracted the whole movie. Him in that wig, it would have
like Sideshow Bob. Yeah, terrible.
Everyone says exactly. So I think that's why it's just this wig has to go. And they made the right call. I'm not missing it. It's just like did Woody Harrelson get you guys excited all in this trailer? Like his type of like attitude.
It got Shay excited for sure. I was like, really? That's what you're excited about? I'm like, did you see him when he had the hair? Anymore, yeah, exactly. No, I was up there with
it. Break up over the Venom 2 trailer. Well, talking about universes that can be a mess sometimes, we're going to talk about the Star Wars universe after this ad break. Boom, and we're back. So,
Kirklin, you just looked at the camera like, we're talking about Star Wars? Really? I wasn't expecting that.
Damn. I'm in.
Did you not see that in the notes, Kirklin?
No, I did. I got it right here.
Okay.
I like to do surprise faces for the viewers on the YouTube channel.
Perfect. Oh, we love it. So this is, I'd say, like a C- rumor. Like it really is. Like the website's from like Giant Freaking Robot. But here's the problem with scoops nowadays. It's like sometimes there's somebody that does spread scoops that have like a higher tier in the scoopage game, but then they're sharing. It's like, oh well, it's not their scoop. They're sharing it from someone else. So it's like, did they also have? Yeah, but do they also have this knowledge and they're validating like, hey, I've heard the same thing? Or is it just like, oh, there's news out there and we need clicks? It's probably the latter, but still, I thought it would just be a fun conversation either way. So the rumor was that Daisy Ridley is currently in talks to join the Star Wars franchise again. It was like very unspecific, no role, no timetable, no size, things like that. So I thought, this rumor might be complete bullshit, but maybe just be fun to talk about because we haven't talked about her in a bit. We haven't talked about Star Wars. So, Kirklin, I'll start with you as far as, do you believe we could, I'm not going to say ever see her again because I think we've all kind of said, like, we will see her at some point. Same way we saw Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. Like, Harrison Ford hated Star Wars at one point, and they got him to come back for 2 movies. So, I think you will see her again at some point, but do you believe it is in the near future, like the next 1 to 2 years? Do you think we could be off? And if we do see her, where would it be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely just felt like it was inevitable to get her back at some point. I feel like it's pretty freaking early, like right now, personally, to bring her back. Like it depends where they want to go, I guess. Like, do they want to go just like a year after when she buried those lightsabers? Or
digs them up again, has to use them.
Yeah, like it's a 6 months in that. Like she has got the exact same haircut. Like I feel like that would just be weird. I don't know. I always kind of pictured her being like a lot older, almost like where Princess Leia was. Like in this new era, like maybe that type of age, almost like in like the general type role.
So you're saying we might not see, in your mind, you're thinking we might not see Daisy Ridley for another 40 years?
They have to age her.
Maybe they just like give her old person makeup, something like that. I don't know. There's ways to do it. That's just kind of how I pictured her coming back. Yeah, like and then for like where we'll see her. Yeah, again, I really don't know. I don't know. Do you have any? What's your?
Well, I'll ask you this: movie or series?
Ooh, I feel like the whole thing with Star Wars right now is like, again, I could be wrong with this, but I feel like they want to like kind of take a break from like the movies just because it's been such a hot mess, and it's like they do make a shit ton of money, but like also it's a huge thing, and every single time that they've been doing them, it's been super controversial. Like every movie, I think, ever since,
except for Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah.
Force Awakens was like, we're back, baby. I'd still say Rogue One because we have that perspective of like lots of us don't enjoy that much, but Rogue One was pretty much like
$1 billion movie, baby.
Yeah, it was $1 billion, and I think it's well received. I think people love it, so I feel like but even then. It didn't have controversy in the public, but that movie had a bunch of reshoots where they had to bring in a different director and do all this stuff. So as far as that goes, they had some controversy there behind the scenes.
Yeah, I want to say it would be more of a series because just like in the time frame, I feel like that would make the most sense. I feel like to bring her back in a big movie, especially since we just finished like her trilogy, her little saga that we had with her. To just bring her back and it's like, oh yeah, we got the Rey saga part 2 or something. Like I feel like they would just have like all new characters sort of if they did something like that, which I don't think that they're doing something like that right now. Again, obviously I don't know. I'm no scooper or anything like that, but
the only thing that is maybe present day is Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie. That's the one that looking like it might not like present day in Star Wars. I think they've even said it might be years after. So like I guess you could like see her pop up in that, but I don't think she has a reason to unless she's like, I'm flying now. Like I don't like sure can't like a cameo.
Bored with that Jedi stuff, so I just want to be a pilot.
Yeah, I'm too good at it. But like, I think if it was just a cameo in that movie, they wouldn't need to be in talks. I think they could just phone her and be like, hey, we'll pay you this. You want to come in for 2 days to shoot this? Is cool. I don't think much would need to be done there.
Yeah, I definitely think the more likely situation is to bring her just in like a series or something, just because I feel like that's been a really good spot for these like little cameos. I guess the cameos we have been getting in the shows, other than Luke, has just been like people from other series.
And it's not a step down for you if they say, hey, like Rey started her own trilogy, all 3 of these films, $1 billion, and now she's going to be Disney Plus series. Because we've had that conversation before. Yeah. Like we look at Anthony Mackie, who he did Disney Plus series, but then he's getting a movie. So we've seen that, but that's Marvel. They're a bit more well machined. Star Wars has kind of had a rocky road. Is that not a step down, do you think, in your eyes, if they go, hey, we're doing Rey and it's 6 episodes Disney Plus?
I mean, I don't want to look at it as a step down. I feel like it just is, just because like the spectrum of people that would see a big Star Wars movie in theaters, outside of COVID times, I feel like that number would just be way bigger than like a Disney Plus series. Just because like the old boys that are like, oh yeah, I saw the first Star Wars, and then maybe they don't have Disney Plus, but they're I work with them. They talk about that. I doubt they're watching this, but if they are, shouts out to you guys. But maybe they'll be driving by the theater. It's like, oh my god, Star Wars back. Okay, maybe I'll see this. They aren't on Disney Plus seeing the series, but especially in the case of Anthony Mackie and how he was in the series and now he's getting his own big screen movie as the new Captain America. I feel like that is possible, but they also don't want. I feel like they wouldn't want to just dilute it though with just raising the series, raising the movies, right? Like just Ray. Because I was complaining today actually on my lunch break on how like Luke was kind of that, how they're just like, oh no, we're getting away from Luke, and then he shows up in Mandalorian. Like I feel like we're just never getting
Plo Koon, right? Or the Salda.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting tired of them just like sticking on to these characters to just have in every single series just as like the staple, and I don't think they should do that. So I don't want to have a lot of her, but I would be totally open to having her in either the series or the movie.
I'll go the opposite route as far as I'm on the different wavelength of like I want as much Rey as I can get because I just feel like much like Ben Solo, but like I did not want in 20, 30 years from now, we're going to have Daisy Ridley. I don't want them to recopy that. And I just like, we've talked about this for a while as far as like the trilogy, think whatever you want, but no matter what, they were like, hey, well, this ends the Skywalker saga. Doesn't make much sense as she's fucking Rey Skywalker now. So anytime she is like in a movie, that's it's a Skywalker movie, but whatever. So the thing is like, I feel like you spent so much time with this character and you put her through so much that, yeah, we did get 3 movies with her. That's still quite a bit, right? But I just feel like we scratched the surface of Rey and the future. And I feel like that was the problem. One of my problems with the trilogy was we didn't really get to advance that much forward. Like we literally just like Return of the Jedi happened. And then smash cut 30, 40 years later. It's like, oh, it's them versus another evil rebellion. It's like, okay, that's one thing that I do like about the current I always keep forgetting the name of it, High Republic, as far as it's this in between time, and it's like, okay, we're on some different adventures with some different villains and stuff like that. And I would love that the way everyone was like, Luke should be having his own Jedi Academy. I would love if you had a series or a movie, but that's where a series might work better. I think a series does feel like a little bit of a step down. I know people might be like, oh, because of Marvel and whatnot, but I just feel like she was the main character of this massive trilogy. It's like, you could do a movie, but maybe a series you could have the nuance of literally if it was a Jedi, it was called like Jedi Council, Jedi Academy, and the show is her going around finding Jedi to recruit them and start an actual council and whatnot. And if that's if that's a hit, then maybe you do a movie as far as like a bunch of the Jedi together. They're fighting a big problem. I think the Master and Apprentice like storyline, you could still, there's a lot of untapped potential there. If you read books and games and stuff like that, I think they've only scratched the surface on that as well. And I just want more of her because I remember as far as Rise of Skywalker that I clearly did not love that movie. At times I don't even like it, but when it ended with her with the yellow lightsaber and she finally was like, I'm Rey Skywalker. Even if you hate it, it's like, I'm Rey Skywalker. I know who I am. I know what I want to do. And then it's like, movie's over. And it's like, yeah, you can have the imagination, but I feel like they still didn't do a good enough job with her in the trilogy. And it's like, I want no more. Of course, they got to make her pregnant, though. That's a deal breaker for me. Like, they need to do. Black
hair comes out. Yeah,
exactly. She needs to be pregnant. Or I still think the great twist would be, let's say, like they jump like 5-7 years in the future, right? And she's training all these young Jedis. Disney, just steal my idea. You don't got to pay me. And let's say they get Finn back too, right? And there's all these kids training and whatnot, but there's one kid that's special, like he's a bit more powerful. He or she's a bit more powerful, maybe has a bit more of a darker side, and all the kids are kind of scared of them, but they don't know how to approach whatnot. And throughout the movie of the series, you don't right away say, like, oh, that's Rey's son. They keep that a secret. You don't know for sure that it's Rey and Kylo's son, but then there's some sort of character finds out, or there's some sort of reveal that, yeah, that is the son of Ben Solo and Rey Skywalker. And it's like, he's been in the academy this whole time, and they kind of keep it a secret because they don't want this to like be a burden to him. I think that would be a great way of like, or even imagine like something if you want to turn that kid dark side. What if Rey didn't even tell that kid she was his mom? Like, she wanted to keep that secret. Like, I think I just want it so bad. They've set up fucking force bursts. They've set up him put his hand on her stomach. I know I'm a broken record, but hashtag, I don't know, fuck Disney. I can't believe they still killed Ben Solo. Here we are. But I'm joking as far as it's not a deal breaker. She doesn't need to be pregnant, but I would obviously like that. But I want to see more Rey, and I hope this happens. Could it be just an animated show? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just as simple as that she makes a cameo in something. Who knows? But Taylor, where are you on the whole Daisy Ridley returning or not returning?
I am very much for her return. I think the way I would like to see it go down is we jump probably like 5 to 10 years into the future after Rise of Skywalker. I wouldn't say we necessarily just hop on the Sith bandwagon because, again, I know that the main chapters it's tough. The main chapters are now all focused on Palpatine's story. So if they're in the main chapter, I would love it if they did another next main bad guy. I got hair in my mouth. Oh my god. The next main chapter, I feel like for an alternative main bad guy, it would be hard to differ. Like, okay, is it going to be Palpatine? Because we could get like some Darth Krayt or something like that and be like, oh, we got a new villain. And then sure enough, they die at the middle of the next trilogy. And then it's like Palpatine has been sending messages from the Outer Rim. Like it's going to be kind of like a possibility. Again, I understand Rise of Skywalker, they resorted to Palpatine and it's very extended universe. Like So it's a pass from me. But that being said,
you just reminded me that Rey is his granddaughter. Like I completely forgot about that. Like that shows how like unmemorable that movie is because I'm like, right, Palpatine, like, right, that's the big twist. Like she's related to him. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So I would like to see it 10 years in the future. You have Rey on a new council that she's keeping with new Jedi that she's trained. My straight up guilty pleasure is that Grogu is with her and is, again, he's like 150 to 200 years old now, which would just be perfect.
But that wouldn't work because Kylo Ren kills them during Last Jedi in that movie. So
that's
he's
what
gonna
you
be
think.
Dead.
That's what you think.
No, that'd be great.
I honestly feel like between Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, a part of me strongly feels like that is on their minds somehow, because you don't bring in a member of Yoda species if you don't have the long term played out. Again, you're going to ride that Baby Yoda hype train as much as you can, but I mean, down the road, it's a guarantee that they're going to bring in. And if we don't see Grogu for the entirety of like season 3 of The Mandalorian, and all of a sudden we get a new movie with Rey, and then in that trailer it's like Grogu, and you see Grogu come in older and just like super badass, like young Yoda style, like fighting with a cane. Like, you know how hype the community would be? Just like this baby Grogu we fell in love with in The Mandalorian. Now here he is, full on trained Jedi, trained by Luke, trained by Rey. Like that's just absolutely legendary. So.
Well, and that's what I want. Like we've talked about this before with DC, and we've talked about this with Star Wars. As far as like, so Rise of Skywalker came out, it made $1 billion. Now, I think they really botched the ending of I think it's tough with even the prequels, which I think were a big mistake, kind of overall. It gave some good things, but at least like it ended strong, like the prequels. Like it still ended like, okay, the last half an hour was like, like when we lead in the stars, we're like, I feel like Rise of Skywalker ended almost one of the worst ways possible. Just like like the fact that I've already forgotten things about it, like this one that's supposed to close up the sagas, is like, I feel like it that's where it's tough. But I feel like they have to do like what we've talked about with Marvel and Thor Dark World, where that is not a liked movie, but they incorporated it into Endgame, their biggest, most popular movie. And it was like, yeah, that movie maybe wasn't greatest, but whatever, it's fucking continuity, deal with it. And the whole report's like, oh, after the sequel trilogy was done, they started taking the characters out of Disney World, and so it's just like these films, no matter what people want to say, they all made $1 billion, and no matter what, there is a section of fans that, just like the prequels, grew up with these movies. And like, it's weird whenever I hear reports like Disney, like if they're afraid to use something they created, it's like, you guys fucking created this. It's not like the prequels where it's like, that was George's thing, and you're like, I don't know if we want to touch that. It's like, you guys created this. And now, at least with them bringing Hayden back for Obi-Wan, I go, okay, maybe they just wanted some space away from Rise of Skywalker. They want people to calm down, then they'll bring people back. I know both Daisy Ridley, like the only one I kind of believe that's never come back is Oscar Isaac. He just feels like he's so over it, but so was Harrison Ford at one point. So I just think that they shouldn't ignore these things. Like Taylor said, that'd be a hype movie. If we had a poster of fucking Rey, Finn, and Grogu, let's go. Like that right there, like them starting new council, like same thing, like Finn getting his powers. I know he had some issues with Lucasfilm. He talked about there was maybe some potential, like he felt there was some tokenism going on there as far as like he was maybe used to promote Star Wars films, and they're like, like he's not really that important, we just used him to prop him up. We don't know the full extent, but the thing is, like, I feel like if they could sit down and have a conversation with what were your problems, how could we figure that out, you could get most of the crew back. And especially with Finn, it's like they gave us this great bow, and like he's a Jedi, he's getting these force powers, and it's like I wanted to see so much more of that. It's like that should have been in the middle of the movies, the trilogy, and then let's get more. But I just don't want them to abandon stuff. Even myself, who didn't love Rise of Skywalker, it's like, yeah, okay, she's a Palpatine, I don't like it, but let's go with it. You made it canon, none of this just like, we didn't like it, so we're gonna throw it behind. So Taylor, you had your hand up. Taylor Phillips, GeekVerse podcast.
Yeah, so when it comes to Disney has this tendency that I feel like they don't own up to what they create. They create things, they do things, and then if it's not received well, they just sweep it under the rug almost like it doesn't exist. I'm seeing more promotion and hype, for prequels and original trilogy stuff now, and everything sequel trilogy is just dead silent. Again, they're riding off of the success of The Mandalorian and stuff like that, but It's just,
but again, billion-dollar movie, so it's not like Solo where if Skywalker came out and kind of did less or bombed, I would say okay, that really showed. But at the end of the day, it shows there's still general audience people that maybe that are on Facebook or on Twitter. They know Rey, Finn, and Poe now. They know if you were a mention of Kylo Ren, like those films all were super successful. Still,
true,
though.
they were. I mean, even in the front of like games, I doubt we see a game for anything sequel trilogy related for a while. The exception is Lego, but that was done before Rise of Skywalker was coming out, right? It was just the hype. They were trying to build it up. But now
I feel like that's a weird thing to say though, because we never got a game for like Force Awakens or Last Jedi or anything. So it's like even Force Awakens when it was at the height and everyone loved Rey, Finn, Poe, Kylo, there wasn't a game. Like, so like those weren't really that big. I feel you. So you're telling me when they do Battlefront 3, there's gonna be no sequel characters in there?
No, they're going to put it in, but I feel like it's just them doing it because they have to. But I feel like we're not getting anything based on the sequel trilogy as its own entity. Like, again, I strongly believe we're going to get that Mandalorian game. I feel like Ubisoft is going to tackle a different time period. I feel like Disney's just moved right onto High Republic, and that's it. They're going to focus all their stuff on that. On regards to now Rey as a character, you mentioned before when you pitched a Kirklin like TV show or movie, I strongly believe we're going to get her in a movie. I don't think they're going to use her as a TV show. I feel like as far as shows go, I feel like they have maybe one or two other secretive ones, but for the most part, we got our shows for Disney Plus for the first phase of these Star Wars shows. That's it for now. So I don't see her going near that.
Maybe, but you say that we got those shows now, but I think some of those shows, like, I still love that we have a Lando show announced, and we still have no fucking clue. Like, is that Donald Glover? Is that Billy D? Like, we don't know. But, like, I think a lot of these shows, one, some might not happen, like classic DC, but two, like, I think some of them could be one and done, like WandaVision. Like, I don't think Lando's going to go multiple seasons if it is Billy D. Williams, you know? So it's like, we have these shows now, but, like, they could come out, happen, be over, and it's like, okay, do we need new shows now? I still agree with you, because again, I still just go with the financials as far as like, I don't like again, she was in 3 films that made billions of dollars. The same thing, like people won't have revisionist history. I don't care. The reason Justice League, the original Justice League, did not do that well is not because fucking Joss Whedon was in the director's chair. It's because people saw Man of Steel and people saw BVS, and guess what? A lot of people didn't like those movies, and they saw the trailer for Justice League and they went, I don't need to see more of this. Did the director problems help? No, they definitely, in like the second weekends, as more as that spread. If that movie came out, like let's say a better version of Justice League, I still think it would have done lesser than, but it would have done better, because I think people have been like, oh, it is, like I enjoyed it. Or if it would have near the reception that Snyder Cut did, I think it would have not as bombed or fell as hard. I don't think it would have hit the BVS and Man of Steel numbers. I think it was still in for Rude Awakening, where even Rise of Skywalker, we had this debate leading up to, right? Like Last Jedi, big controversial movie, all this stuff. Rise of Skywalker, sure, was the lowest of the trilogy, but not by like tons, as far as like it still made $1 billion, which is one of the biggest films of all time. So like that backlash Last Jedi, it was like it was there, but not there enough to like hurt it like Solo. So that's why I still feel like they have to, I don't know, there's people that like these characters, so I feel like they shouldn't do this, oh, we're gonna put in just because we have to and we made it. So it's like, no, like people bought toys these characters, people like these characters, and that's where a movie would make sense. Like the box office potential is there, and maybe if that doesn't do well, then you go, okay, maybe it's over, maybe. But I don't know, it's a tough pickle to be in.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough pickle.
So we'll see. At the end of the day, literally, it could just be her voicing an animated character. So it's and it could also not be true. So that's the biggest thing. So yeah, let us know what you thought. Let us know where you think she might appear. Any other movie or TV news before we hit some of this gaming news? Going once, going twice.
I don't think so.
Sold to let's talk about just quickly these consoles, PS4 and Switch, or sorry, well, I guess we're talking about PS4, but PS5. So PS5 put out their stats. I think it was like a week and a half ago, right after our newscast, and it shows that right now, where the PS4 was in its life cycle, the PS5 is obviously where it is now, and it's outselling the PS4, which to me, I was flabbergasted by, because people are still trying to get them, having a tough time. But to me, I guess that just shows the power of PlayStation. But then Switch also, I think it's either passed or is about to pass the PS4 and the Wii. To put that in preference, PS4 obviously selling gangbusters, and what was it? Wii, biggest selling console of all time. I think there's a set of like the 3DS is still number one as far as consoles overall, but if you're just talking like in-home consoles, Wii was number one. And as of right now, if it's gonna pass those two, it like will like it could be on pace to be the biggest console of all time. I think there's even facts like it could get to the 3DS level. I don't think it's like it's iffy or whatnot, but Kirklin, what do you think about that as far as these two consoles? You got PS5 selling better than the PS4 did at the same time, and then you got Switch, which is to me crazy because that's a console which I own, but I honestly wrote off when we got that reveal, and now that there's like it might be the biggest like home like even though it's not a home console, but still might be the biggest console of all time. To me is fucking bonkers.
Dylan, PS4 is best selling over Wii.
Is it, Dylan? I don't know about that. I will do a Google while Kirkland's talking, but I feel like Wii still has the numbers. But go ahead, Kirkland.
Yeah, it's funny when you brought up the Switch there. I mean, you have it on tape, me just shitting on it, saying I'm never going to get it. And then, got totally swayed over. I think it was honestly like Smash, just playing that game alone. Like one game sold me on that whole console. And still, like Shay uses it all the time. I use it all the time. Like it's just such a great console. Switch is still quite a ways from PS4 and a while from.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it's where those life cycles were at the PS4 and the Wii. It's sold more than that. So if it keeps going, plus you got the Switch Pro, that'll happen. Let me see here.
Yeah, I mean, and then in regards to
you go ahead.
In regards to the PlayStation, like that is definitely surprising to me. I felt like they would have just had low numbers because of the amount. Just the amount of people that are looking for the console. Like I'm still kind of on that list. I'm not high priority on it. I'm not like in the Discord groups or anything like that. Getting the back alley Walmart shady deals with like the delivery driver or something like that.
Let's go to back alley.
Yeah, but like that is pretty crazy. And I feel like maybe that's a part of it is because there is so many people that are still like frothing at the mouth to get one. So they're like looking pretty hardcore. And I feel like that number of people, like I still know quite a few people that are like hardcore looking for them. And
Dylan was right about the PS4. I swear, I guess the PS4 has just still been selling that well because the Wii is 101, so I'll round up to 102 million, and then PlayStation 5 is 116 million. So a good lead on it. So I thought for sure we still had that, but then overall best selling console right now is 155 million PlayStation 2, which is crazy, and then you got
big numbers.
Those were those big boy numbers. So it's all, but that's as far as the reports right now. As far as if things go well, it's on pace to potentially be the biggest selling console of all time, which is, like I said, crazy. But it's just, and we'll talk about this in this news too. But it's stuff like all the games are still $60 to $80. Mario Kart 8 is like it has been in the top 10. I can't remember records like GTA and whatnot. So it's it's just I don't know.
Definitely. Especially like I always criticize Nintendo on like some of their business decisions, like taking Mario All-Stars just off the store. Like nobody can, like Nintendo cannot gain income from that game that they just had on their store. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. When you have shit like the cardboard games and just the fact that they never have sales on anything.
Oh, here comes like, Taylor. He has to show off his All-Star.
Like maybe that's just, credit to them. They're like, yeah, we don't have to do sales. People will buy our shit no matter what. I mean, that's kind of proven, but still, it's not really, I don't know, doesn't really make sense to me, but I still have a Switch, I was thinking about getting Mario Kart, but I'm like, fuck, it's still like $80. No, thank you.
Don't support it.
Yeah.
You have to boycott Mario Kart 8 until we get Mario Kart 9.
Exactly. I got CTR until then or something like that.
So Taylor, what do you feel about some of those stats? I gotta give you another stat too about PlayStation 5 is selling 40%, is doing 40% more profit than Xbox. I think
they're just making up numbers because they're saying that PS5s are out of stock till 2022.
I don't know what that has to do with my number. That was if you look at PlayStation sales, and then you look at Xbox, and then the experts went, "Oh, this is the percentage difference." That's no one putting out there. That's just facts.
I don't know. Who are these experts? Can I see their resume? See their credentials? Where they go to school?
So anyways, how do you, because obviously you're not getting the PS5 at any time, but were you surprised that at the current time where it was with the PS4 with all these production problems and whatnot, that it is outselling the PS4? Because PS4, great console. We just talked about that 116 million like units and whatnot, kept trucking along. So are you surprised that that is happening now, or was that a foregone conclusion for you?
No, I think it just seems like this is the generation that all these consoles are in high demand, except in Google Stadia. So everyone's just like really trying to get on this.
It's gonna come back. It's gonna
come back. Yeah, I think everyone's just trying to really hop onto this next generation while they can, and it's proving potent. I'm going to tell everyone this. If you're trying to buy a next-gen console online, you're doing it wrong. For God's sakes, go into the store, walk in. I know it's COVID. I understand that. But if you really want that console, put a mask on and sanitize the yin-yang out of your hands, because they are in stores. I was in them all the other day, and I saw a lady buying
out of your hand to someone else.
I saw a lady buying 2 Xbox Series X's off the counter at
EB Games. That's a lie. No one's buying an Xbox Series X.
They were there. I swear to God, I saw the guy had 2 boxes there, and she bought both of them. On top of that, my neighbor, he walked right into the source and he just bought himself a PS5. He said there was no hassle. He just did that last week. So again, these things, like, they're in stock, and it makes sense because stores get quantities that don't show up online. That was the same when I couldn't get my Xbox Series X online because it was just crazy. I walked in store as soon as they opened, like, yeah, we got a bunch. And I was like, okay, I'll take one. It was as easy as that. So go in store. Yeah, Dylan, do it. Your online endeavors have proved fruitless. I hear you. Like, the online is just brutal.
And it's crazy. I don't mean to, like, I'm not trying to like have fun and start an argument of war, but like looking at the stats and like PS5 estimated 7.8, and then like Xbox Series X like estimated 2.8, like 5 million, like I and like that's just crazy. And like again today, PlayStation put out this report. I think one of their guys, now that Sean Layden's gone, I don't know who the fuck's running things, but they said like they have 25 new IP like exclusive games in development, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what Xbox does, because I bugged Tim about this last newscast, but then like I said, there was like a report that came. I was like, yeah, Games Pass never turned a profit. They're like in the black or in the red for a lot of things. It's just like it will be interesting, like once the Bethesda of it all turns around, if this like really kicks it around. But like I said before, I still think it's those exclusives. But it's
what's driving the sales of PlayStation? That's what I'm wondering, because like brand. For both well, I guess it have to be, because like for both consoles there hasn't been any major games or titles.
I think, and if Dylan is still watching, correct me or let me know, I think that Returnal game that came out is just PS5 exclusive, because there's been a couple like what the hell's going on? Like Miles Morales was both. They said Horizon Zero Dawn is both. God of War, it's iffy right now if it's both consoles, but I think Returnal, but then like Ratchet and Clank is coming out and that's PS5 exclusive. But like I think with them doing so well last generation, as we just looked, because what was it? So yeah, Dylan said it is PS5 exclusive. So there you have that. That got, but again, as we like joke around, I didn't buy it because I don't have the time. When they're like, you may play 4 hours of this game with no save points, I was like, as a father of soon to be 3 kids, I don't got time for 4 hours of no save points. Anybody could vomit at any second and it's game off time. That's where I will give Xbox Series X respect. Quick resume is just a beautiful thing in my life. Resident Evil, I just would turn it on off and it'd be right there. But like, where was the PS4? It was the 4. If you take out handhelds, second console of all time. I think right now with the hype that PS4 had, it's just has the Apple effect where I get Apple. I like an Apple phone. There's been times I've wanted to do Android because there's been many things where it says, hey, this is better, this is better, this is better. But then I just go, but I got all this other Apple shit. And it's just like, it's that brand of like, I like the ease of use. I like the look of an Apple phone. And I think that's what Sony has. It's still, and also Taylor, I think that whole thing of like, you can't get one. They want that narrative to keep going as long as possible, because that makes it seem like it's the fucking hot shit, cool kids club of like, oh, you got a PS5. Like this is how I knew this is a big thing. When SNL did a skit about, I can't remember which guest host, but it was like all they want for Christmas. It was a Christmas episode. All they wanted for Christmas was a PS5. And there was a whole 3-minute skit about that. When you're in the zeitgeist like that, you're just the man. You're just rolling. And that's the thing where it's just like Xbox, I don't know what, like, they do need an exclusive Mandalorian game. They do need, like, I think Starfield could be that, but the problem is Starfield, I think, will probably still be on the PS5 this generation. I still think they should just drop trial and just be like, sorry, you're not getting it, or you're getting it on the PS5, but you're getting it a year later. But they need not just, they're in the position now where they don't need one hit, they need several hits, and that's what happened with Xbox. Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us. They just hit boom, 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 boom. They hit again. Like, sure, Days Gone came in there, but that was like, there was like 30 games that hit and then Days Gone. Where Xbox, it's like Halo's still delayed. They're just making the fucking Gears game. They made like that Sparky robot dog game. That didn't
past
work.
That point. I mean, your God of War, I mean, you had God of War 3 on PS3 and then God of War 4 pop off on PS5. So again, that's hype that was building. Where Xbox already cashed in on that. They did their Halo 4 on the Xbox, I guess 360. They came back, but they came back too soon with it. They should have saved it and their Gears. And if they saved that for this console and skipped the Xbox One altogether and went for the Series X, that would have had a whole bunch of hype. If they didn't do Halo 4 when they did on the 360, and they were like, Halo 4 is coming for the Series X, and we got Gears of War 4 coming on the Series X, like that would have been a whole generation of anticipation and hype that just built up for 8 years. So that's, again, what Sony had in their ball court.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing where it does help buying Bethesda, because I think they, like, I guess I don't know if we've talked about this before. That's a big debate. Maybe we will know this E3, and that's the same thing. Like, what will they do with these Bethesda's games? Will they just be Xbox? Will they be both? But Bethesda does, to me, help a lot, because if you, let's say they did say it's just exclusive, you could get, your Fallouts, which I think even though Fallout 76 happened, people will be excited for a new Fallout. You'll have Starfield, you'll have that Indiana Jones game, and you'll have the other things going on. Taylor, do you think Halo comes out this year?
Was it supposed to this year? I haven't been following it all, to be honest.
I actually don't remember, but I was just going to ask that. Like, I feel like, and I love the meme sending those graphics and everything like that, but like, I feel like the hype for that game is just like, it's like gone. Like, I feel like they really
came and went.
The fact that you got that trailer and then it got delayed. They're like, yeah, it's not coming out for a whole nother year. I think the tentative date right now is like fall of this year. I could be wrong. Maybe they didn't even date it.
You're right.
I don't think, like, unless we get something revealed at E3, I don't. And if you look into, I think they had like some controversy too of like work. Like, you'd have to look into it recently. Like, the game. I think some people left it again. So it's just like, I just don't hear about that game at all. And I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you get that back. I really don't. So Dylan says, if Taylor doesn't know when it's coming out, that's a problem for its hype. And it is like, that's, it's gonna have more delays than Skull and Bones, which we're gonna talk about in a second. But and what about Switch for you, Taylor? Because you didn't talk about Switch. That is doing really well. Could, if all things go to right, they're making a pro version, might become the biggest console of all time.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's, again, Nintendo is weird and wacky in how they do things, but again, I feel like a Switch, everyone I talk to these days, they own a Switch. Like, it's just a standard go-to. I know that they went through like a short supply run for a little bit, but it seems that they've overcame that. Like, I just think it's awesome. I love the different Joy-Cons you can get. There's a cool couple colors that I'm going to try and buy this year. But again, when it comes to their games, I'm just trying to collect like the staples that you need. You got to have your staple Mario game. Got to have your staple like spin-off Mario character game, which is your Luigi's Mansion. Got to have your Mario Sports title. Yeah, Strikers is the last creme de la creme that I need. I know I have Mario Kart that is accessible on this console. I can get if I really, really want it, but I'm holding off because I need that Mario Kart 9, which they have rumored that it's not a Mario Kart circuit or a Mario Kart live tour, that it is possibly Mario Kart 9, which I'm holding hopes for because I need it and I want it. I got Pokken. I got all the games that I want on the Switch. So Kirklin, do a catch up.
Cody Taylor said, I'm late. Please, can I get a catch up on? Yeah, Kirklin, can you give him the whole hour and a half episode in a minute?
If you don't like ads, there's not much we can do to help you. There's some.
Ghost Rider Ray.
He's
No,
really
go back.
coming back. Yeah, Ghost
You
Rider.
can watch the YouTube video or the podcast version in the morning. We thank you for being in the chat. But I think obviously we had the Wii U era, and I liked the Wii U. I liked their games, but we had the Wii U era. But most of the time, I've always said that, and obviously they're not partnering up now because they're with Universal. But Mario or Nintendo is kind of like the Disney of gaming, right? They're that family, always going to be there. You know what you're going to get, and I think this proves. I'm still surprised because I go back to the day they launched the Switch. I shat all over it, and I was like, "How can you do that, Cody?" Well, you just either rewind, or if you look at the description down below, there's all the links for a podcast. So good stuff there. So I just think that I'm shocked that it's at the state. I'm going to ask you, Taylor, are you buying golf when it comes out?
I like seeing it, but I was never one that bought like Mario Toadstool Tours or whatever that one was on the GameCube. I didn't even get the follow-up one to that. The only other Mario sports title that I would branch out to is tennis. Other than that, Strikers is where it hits home for me.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take our last ad break before we finish up with these little gaming topics that we got here. So we will be right back.
Let's golf.
Let's golf it up, boys. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I'll be buying that. Like,
I don't think anyone can compete with Kirklin's chip shot.
Right, yeah. That wasn't in Mario Golf though. That was in Wii.
No, it was even harder. That was Wii Golf. Imagine what he does in Mario Golf.
Well, maybe we'll find out. But we do have to do some online Mario Party soon, Taylor. We got you, me, Mass.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah, that maybe we'll stream it. That could be fun. But what could be fun or not so much fun is Ubisoft in a press release or whatnot when they're higher up said that they're going to be focusing more on free-to-play games. Now, this was a big controversy in the interwebs yesterday because it's not necessarily they're saying they're getting rid of AAA games or anything like that. They just said they don't expect to do the 3 to 4 per year. So it's one of those kind of vague things. Like they said a few things, but it's like, okay, what do they really mean? Kirklin, how do you feel about, obviously, I don't know the last time you bought a Ubisoft game, but how do you feel about them?
I would say Assassin's Creed Odyssey was my last Ubisoft game.
Assassin's Creed, wow.
And like I've always had like a special place in my heart for Ubisoft games. I love the Far Cries. They just got so repetitive for me, even though I bought like a huge amount of that series. Really like the Assassin's Creed games, and like their open world games are like quality content. It seems like all of their games are like the same type of open world, which kind of got like a little dry for me. That's kind of why I stepped away from them. And the whole decision to like go more smaller titles as opposed to these like AAA titles, I'm assuming just so they can kind of get more creative, because I feel like their AAA titles were getting a little too like formulaic in my opinion. I think it's a positive, honestly. Like, yeah, you might not be getting your big titles that you're used to seeing all the time, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially since we've already gotten like a plethora of those titles. Sorry about that. I think like I
black lung pop.
Been working in the mine. I think, I don't know, like I'm an optimist. I hope this leads to just more like brand new things that I didn't think Ubisoft was capable of, and just real like hidden gems that I don't know, hopefully the majority of the audiences like really like, because I think Ubisoft is capable of doing like very quality games, and they've shown that in the past. I just felt like they got too set in their ways, just re-releasing like the same type of formula, and that's, from my perspective, I feel like that's kind of their, I don't know, part of their downfall. I don't know if they're on a downfall, but for lack of a better term.
Heard it here first. Yubi's on a downfall. Yeah, it's tough for me because like I can't remember the last Ubisoft game I played. I bought Watch Dogs 2, still sitting there, never touched it. I thought about Watch Dogs 3, but then it kind of got mad reviews. I've always, like I said, flirted with Assassin's Creed, but then Ghost of Tsushima came up, and I was like, well, that kind of scratched that itch. So it's tough for me to be like, oh, this is a bad move. They shouldn't do this one. It's like, I don't know if they were getting my money anyways. These fuckers just got to put Ubi Play on the consoles and they'd get my money. Like, I don't know why they still haven't done this. Like, EA Play is there. You got Games Pass. I don't understand. But Not that I feel bad for the people supporting Ubisoft, but I do worry if those people that, let's say, they're always buying the Far Cry's, the Assassin's Creed, they really like those. If it is just a step back, is it just kind of, is this the hot thing, or do they have like an actual plan for a layout? And it could be interesting because I think Taylor will probably mention it, but I think we're getting like a Division type of maybe free to play sort of game coming up, or some sort of online game, and people say like, oh, maybe you could do that with Watch Dogs, stuff like that. I don't think you could do that with Assassin's Creed. I don't see what you could do there as like a free to play Assassin's Creed, but hey, maybe like Kirk was saying, yeah, maybe there's something creative, and if it's MMO, I think I'd be out. But yeah, it's an interesting shift. It's going to be interesting to see, because I think EA also put out like 26% of their profits are only coming from like people actually buying games. The rest are all like microtransactions and all this stuff and everything. So it's like, if they have statistics where as a business free to play looks like they might be making more money, who am I to tell them to not do that? I'm not going to go leave them a 1-star review and say, oh, you got to do this. But like, I don't know. It's interesting. Taylor, you're Mr. Ubisoft. How do you take this?
So this is very interesting, because the way I see it, Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are like the Ubisoft babies. It's like they're children. That's like their go-to. Now, whatever they're doing with Splinter Cell, I couldn't tell you. I feel like that's been teased, and I feel like we could get like one Splinter Cell game in the future at some point, but I don't think it's something that's going to get like a major, like, we're back, Splinter Cell's coming at you. I feel like Ghost Recon has probably hit its... Yeah, I feel like Ghost Recon's hit its end now. I think Breakpoint was their breaking point. Yeah, that was the breaking point. So... it's a shame, because Wildlands is freaking awesome. I still play quality. It to this day.
I still play it too. Oh, it's so good.
It's really, really, really good. Yeah, Breakpoint is just, it's Breaking Point. But when you get to other games like Division, that's making the jump to free play. Watch Dogs, I could easily see dying off or making the jump to free play. Siege, I 100% think they're just going to keep that going with seasons. It works. It's a very, very popular tournament game, so I think that's awesome for them. And then you have what was the other one? I think Just Dance. I know I was talking about how that could easily become a free to play, but again, it's a sold out title. I went to EB Games because it's on sale and I couldn't find it. The guy was like, yeah, we're sold out. I checked the other EB Games, they're sold out as well. I'm thinking, well, shit, I gotta buy Mortal Kombat 11 instead. So it's just, I feel like, again, we have a series or a movie coming out for The Division, so they do have like care and interest in that franchise, but I feel like
shooting film.
What's that?
Is that filming? Is it shooting?
I have no idea what the status is on it, just that it is being worked on. I don't think it's being worked on.
Never coming out.
I don't think it's worked on as heavily as the Assassin's Creed Netflix series. I think that has much more priority. Yeah. But I just feel like there's easy. You can easily pick the titles that are going to keep going, and you can easily pick the titles that'll either die or go to free to play. Again, I know I also mentioned Assassin's Creed. I could honestly see it coming to a point where it dies off. It's drifted very far away from what Assassin's Creed is to its core. It's turned into an open world RPG, and it's not really sticking to that main assassin aesthetic and feel, especially that Assassin's Creed 2 it had, which is, I guess it's going on its own journey. I still love the games. They're fun, but they're not Assassin's Creed-y as I like them to be.
It's not my Assassin's Creed.
It's not my Assassin's Creed. But
hashtag not my Assassin's Creed.
The only other thing was... Oh, am I drawing a blank? They did put out like a couple of their titles. What was that? Phoenix Rising or something like that they had? Or what was that one game?
You tell me. I've not heard about this Phoenix Rising.
It was, let's see, Ubisoft God's Game. It was something like Immortal. Game. Yeah, Immortals Phoenix Rising. That's that God's or whatever you can call it.
That just like sounds so pretentious when you, yeah.
Yeah. I think the
Skull and Bones is still coming. Don't forget about Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones, yeah, that's still coming. Again, I was hyped when they announced it at first because I would love to get into that, but now I feel like it's just gonna probably die off or just non-existent.
When was it announced?
It was
like
supposed,
5 years ago.
it was supposed to
my
come out.
God.
No,
Like
3 years
predates
ago.
the podcast. Oh my god.
No, it doesn't. We were watching E3 because I remember Taylor like, this looks great. And everyone was like, I don't know about this. But like, it was supposed to come out in 2018, and right now it's projected. It just got delayed this week because it was supposed to come out this year. This is how unconfident they are. They didn't even say 2022. They said 2022 or 2023. Like,
Oh no.
So December, January.
yeah, that is a wide range of like, oh, so you guys need like. How is a game that was supposed to come out in 2018 now needs has had 3 years after that and then needs another year and a half of work?
I think they cleaned house like 6 times and they just like kept getting new people. I don't know, man. They should have just like used the Black Flag engine because that game was like a great pirate game.
They did, and that's initially what they were going with. But again, they got sidelined somehow. I don't know what. I don't know how. I'm not a game developer, but I
do
don't
like
know
a
how difficult it is
documentary
to do a
just on this
4v4
game
ship
release.
game.
Oh yeah, I want the story when this article, like when this game comes out and fucking bombs, and then Ubisoft, like the higher ups are like, why did we spend 5 years spending money on this game? Like why, why did we do this? And then the article will come with like all these things, and like yeah, I was saying that to Taylor. I was just like, I don't know why they just don't ditch it. Like I know sometimes we've made that joke for like, oh, you can't ditch a game, but it's like at this point, or not even ditch it, just release it as is. And I know that could be bad, but just like. I think this game already had uphill battle, and the fact that it's going to maybe come out like 4 to 5 years later after it was supposed to come out. I don't know. Like I like they're pouring money and resources into this game. Why?
I think
Halo,
it'll be free
I
to play
understand.
now. I don't think it'll be a pay to play game.
Yeah, let's see those 2 downloads.
On top of that, I do feel like Ubisoft holding off on all of their other titles. I feel like a big part of that is the fact that okay, the Star Wars IP is opened up. We can just dive into this, and if we land this open world Star Wars game that people are craving for, like salivating for, then I truly believe that'll just be a total game changer for them. I think they're gonna, again, as I said, step back from their main IPs. They're going to work on a couple. They're going to have other ones that they'll work and just keep us free to play with seasonal updates, kind of like you would get with For Honor or your Rainbow Six Siege. And they're just going to focus on pumping out a sequel because they love doing sequels. We'll get a second Star Wars game and a third and fourth. And then we'll get some Assassin's Creed crossovers in there and stuff.
Star Wars Valhalla.
With their costumes because they like
yeah. Assassin's Creed Jedi robes. Oh my God. Oh.
What if they found a way to make like, you know how there's always different eras for Assassin's Creed and that's what it is. The Star Wars game, it's just like Assassin's Creed, but
I'd
in
go
Star
unconscious.
Wars.
They need to have like a Cyberpunk era one. That'll get me back. Because I used to crave that Feudal Japan one, but then I got Ghost of Tsushima.
You have to wait 10 years for Project Red to develop that.
Fucking Project Red. We're still working on that DLC. Don't you worry. Yeah. Anything else on this topic? No, I think that's all. Unless there's anything else you guys have to shout out. I think we've done it.
I don't think I have.
Oh, the monsters at work, little snapshot. It got me pretty excited.
Oh, that I thought that's what you referred to your employee, like
that's his coworkers.
Oh yeah. I got these monsters at work. I have to look.
I thought you said I gotta shout out the little monsters at work. I'm like, who the fuck are the little monsters at work, and why do you call them that?
Old boys that saw?
Yeah. Shout out to the old boys. Shout out to the little monsters at work. Shout out to Mo with the gimpy leg. Oh god, yeah, that's exciting. That comes out July 2nd. I think that's something that we'll probably review on newscast because we're not gonna stay up and like midnight. Here we go. But like, I think we'll like shout it out. I think they'll be pretty short episodes. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. So. Well, we did it. Like we said this week, there'll be the Bad Batch review, but as of right now, no Saw, Spiral review, anything like that. But coming up, we got we got Quiet Place. We're going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing Army of the Dead. Yeah, we at least get that in the drive. I should have ranted about that. I have so much stuff to rant about. Like, I should have ranted about like the fact that they're playing Lost Boys and fucking what's the other movie? Little Shop of Horrors instead of Spiral. Like, come on now. I think it would have done a little bit better. And then my other thing is, so I got my new omnibus that I was so looking forward to.
I called it.
This is what I was looking forward to the most. The all new Wolverine. That's when Laura takes over. You can't see it right now, but this is like gray and black. It's like black and white. Her eyes red. It's fucking beautiful. Like, it's just like orgasmic. So good. Problem is, like, look at this shit.
Yeah, I
Let me
can't.
I'm trying. Oh, calm
Focus.
down. I know it's not focusing on. Let me. Oh, there we go.
Do they
Marvel.
spell omnibus?
No, look at the
Um,
top. Look at it like wrinkled like
Oh,
that.
it's a wrinkle. You should return
Yeah,
it. You should
I am
legit get a
returning it.
return.
So at Marvel Alliance, we have a sponsor, so then we go through him to get it. I was just so disappointed because this is the one out of the 4 I ordered this year I wanted the most. And it's like, if you look at my last thing, like,
Always pissed.
How do we know he
It's
didn't
cool.
crease it?
Yeah,
it's cool
no, he was.
because I like that it's black and stuff, but like because it fits for Moon Knight. But like Moon Knight, it's like I like this for Moon Knight, but Spider-Man's is the exact same where it's just black and
Yeah.
white writing. For Moon Knight's, I think it's cool. Spider-Man, like, oh, I'm a little disappointed, but it's like,
Yeah.
look at that, and then like look
Got,
at this.
like,
It's like
lime crush stains all over it, just Slurpee
Yeah.
marks.
And I couldn't believe it. All the other ones have been in perfect shape. Yeah, fuck you. All the other ones have been in perfect shape, but the one I wanted the most, Laura's book, is like, so I was so disappointed. So I'm gonna I've read it before, but I was really wanting to reread it, so now I'm gonna have to wait a little
Who'd
bit.
you order
longer.
it from?
Amazon.
Amazon. Wow, Amazon's dropping the ball.
Amazonians. Hey, we forgot to talk about Emily Blunt not being casted.
Oh well.
Yeah. Exactly.
Save for next week, yeah. That's the problem. Not the problem. It's a good thing to have with Geek First, but like we started this like, okay, we got 6 topics. This could be like an hour and a half the most. But then I always forget. We go on tangents. Taylor does something. Some fucking guy reviews something. So it's like I should really just be like, oh, I thought my book completely fell over. I should just really be like, man, if we have 3 topics, that's a newscast right there. Like we really have it. So
we can fill in the gaps.
Oh yeah, we really can. So, well, thank you. If you're at this point, you get to hear me complain about the omnibuses. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with a newscast as always, and we promise you, it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.